Hey there guys, this is Jordan Floyd from 9 to 5 Google, and Samsung just announced a handful of new devices including the Z Fold 5, Z Flip 5, Galaxy Tab S9, and Galaxy Watch 6 series. News-wise, there's a few things to talk about, but first, we're going to focus on the device that changed the most, which was surprisingly the Z Flip 5 out of all things. This year, Samsung completely revamped the cover display. We saw Motorola make this move a few months ago with the Razr Plus, and it was a wise move for Samsung to follow along. On the new Z Flip 5, the cover screen makes up a large portion of that top shell and has increased functionality than we had previously. With the new cover screen, you can finally use a full-size keyboard, so you can actually use your phone without having to open up that inner display. By default, the Z Flip is not set to run full-size apps. You'll have to manually enable that feature within the Samsung Labs section in the settings. Once you enable that function, you'll be able to use Messages, WhatsApp, Google Maps, Netflix, and YouTube on the cover screen. Samsung also says you can use the Good Lock extension to run any app that you choose on that cover screen, which is a big win for Flip users. Additionally, you can expect customizable clock faces, and like the previous Z Flips, there's a decent variety of widgets as well for those that want quick, easy interactions. As for specs, everything's basically the same as it was last year, so we have the same 12 megapixel camera, the same 1080 by 2640 display, the same 8 gigs of RAM. The only difference we get is an upgrade to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, which should help out with battery life and performance a bit. The Z Fold 5 was another major announcement at Samsung Unpacked this year. The only new things we get are a processor upgrade to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip and a redesigned hinge that removes as much of that gap as possible while also being slightly thinner. Additionally, we get Android 13 with One UI 5.1.1 out of the box, and for base level storage, it starts at 256 gigs, which I would say is long overdue. One last change we got with the Z Fold 5 this year was a new addition for a first-party case. This first-party case completely overhauls the S Pen attachment system to fit inside the case while attached to the phone with a small portion sticking out as a latch release mechanism. Otherwise, the Z Fold 5 is very similar to the Z Fold 4 in terms of design. The crease is unchanged, and from what we can tell, there are very little software additions to speak of. Of course, this kind of device is most likely for those that are brand new to foldables or are ready for an upgrade from a much older Z Fold model. But if you have an older Z Fold model, I would honestly just wait for the Z Fold 6 in hopes that we get some major jumps in technology, but that's just me. To round out the Samsung ecosystem, we got a refresh on their new watches and tablets as well. This year, all the Tab S series got an update to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, and the smallest version of the Tab S9 got an AMOLED display to make sure it has the same quality as the S9 Plus and S9 Ultra. Otherwise, these tablets are largely the same as last year, but a big surprise was a new line of accessories to help make the Tab series more complete. I have to say, I am impressed, and I'm a little jealous because we all know the Pixel tablet didn't have many accessories at launch. With the Tab S series, we're getting a new first-party case that has an origami-style kickstand that you can put in portrait or landscape, and overlay accessories that sit on top of the display to give you a paper-like texture for stylus use and add a privacy screen. Finally, with the Galaxy Watch 6 and 6 Classic, we did get a few new changes. Both watches have slightly thinner bezels, slightly faster processors, and of course, we get the return of the rotating bezel on the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, which I do have to say is so nice to see it return. I still have my Gear S2 from 2015 sitting around because of how iconic that rotating bezel is, so maybe I'll pick up a Galaxy Watch 6 Classic to relive the good old days. On the software side, we did get some new features. It's nothing crazy, but the new watch comes with improved sleep tracking, personalized heart rate zones, and Samsung SmartThings integration, which will enable you to change the behavior of smartphone devices during the bedtime hours, but this will all be coming to the Galaxy Watch 5s as well. And that's everything new with Samsung Unpacked this year. Overall, it was a pretty minor product refresh, with the biggest evolution coming to the Z Flip series. I will say though, because there's not a ton of changes, it makes last year's products a really good buy, especially if the Z Fold gets a drop in price on the used market. I might consider picking up one myself to play around with it. So either way, let me know what you think of Unpacked this year, and if there are any Samsung devices that you have your eye on. I'm gonna get out of here so I can work on the next video. This has been Jordan Floyd with 9 to 5 Google, and I hope to see you in the next one.